Hi everyone, thank you for joining me again. Today we're going to have a very quick chat about shoulder injuries or shoulder pain. Now this is most common with those of you out there who are doing lots of free weight exercises or lots of high intensity body weight exercises. Press ups, dips, chest presses, flies, wall throws, all that sort of thing. If you know you have a bit of an issue around that area, most of the time we kind of play it down, we think it's just something that has to happen with an exercise, I have to have these aches and pains and niggles. But actually, after that kind of initial shock to exercise, your body shouldn't continually ache, and it definitely shouldn't have pain. You know, you've got to kind of consider for yourself the difference between achiness and soreness and pain. If you're feeling your shoulders hurt during movement, so when you're going into a press up or when you're going into a chest fly or some form of exercise, then it's highly likely that you've got a problem with the tissue there. And that's something that we want to help you with. The first thing that I want you to do, as with all injuries and as with all forms of pain, you stop exercising. Now stop exercising that exercise. You stop that exercise, let me clarify that. You don't need to stop exercising. So you're going to stop that exercise. It's really important that we catch an injury early on, because then we can manage the pain for it and we can, in most cases, correct it and make it completely disappear, which means you can continue then to exercise properly, exercise in a healthy way, injury-free way, and progress, which is what we all want. Constant progression, constant challenges. So, with your shoulder, there's two common injuries, and like I say, it's very common in those who lift weights. When you go into something like a chest press or a press up or a fly, you might feel sometimes a dull ache or sometimes a very sharp pain. Both of those are associated with problems with muscles, what we call our rotator cuff muscles. Now I'm going to explain this very quickly here and on a very basic level, but what I want you to do, if this kind of strikes a chord with you and you think, yeah, you know what, I am getting a little bit of pain on one shoulder when I go into these exercises, what I want you to do is, while it's kind of let that light bulb sound off, get over to my corrective program for this. We've got a full program of rehabilitation which shows you ways in which you can correct this plan at home using our switch programs. So get over to that next. But let's see if it strikes a chord with you. So you're going into chest press, you're experiencing pain, but you're not kind of feeling it around your shoulder or the front of your shoulder blade, the front of your shoulder muscle, so the fleshy part of this tissue. It feels much deeper. It feels something that's almost into the bone. The other thing that we get is that we can get a pain running down the arm. And that's a lot of the time is what confuses us to thinking we haven't got a shoulder issue. So when you go into an exercise, rather than it locate itself directly in the shoulder, remember it feels quite deep into the shoulder joint, or it begins to radiate down the arm. So a lot of the time when people come in and see me with this complaint, they think that they've done something to the bicep or the tricep and their arm, the bone hurts, feels like the bone's hurting. They're all related to these rotator cuff muscles being injured, torn, inflamed, or impacted in some unnatural way. So let's explain that really quick. If you think of this bone here, so this is our humerus, and we have what's called your humeral head. So it's pretty much like a fist, round ball at the top of the bone. Now that sits into your shoulder joint, so here, into this bone here, which is called our clavicle, and then into a part of it called our acromion process. Now what happens in and around there, our shoulder joint just sits into that. So our shoulder, which is attached to our arm, just sits into that. But it's held there by 4 tendons. So these 4 tendons make up our rotator cuff. Now they do exactly that, they rotate it. Think of all the movements your shoulder can do. You know, it can twist, it can move, it can rotate, it can create circles. And if you do that now, some of you might hear clunking or clicking, some of you might feel really awkward and painful with. For those of you who have that, get over to that program now. You don't need to listen to the rest of this. So get off this, get onto that program, I'm going to tell you how to correct it. For those others of us, what I'm going to do is just a few little tests that you're going to test with me now, see if it strikes a chord, see if you have got an injury, or is it just soreness from training, in which case it's fine. So think of these joints and these muscles, they're going to hold the joint in a different place, and what we're going to now do is move and articulate that humeral head, so that bone, that arm, in different positions. If you're feeling pinging or pain or a pinching in any of them, stop and get over to the plan and I'll show you how to correct it. So let's do this. We're going to do a few basic movements with our arms and shoulders. So if we drop our arms by our side, let's go over to the arm that you think may be injured or may be causing a little bit of discomfort and pain during exercise, and let's take you through a little bit of a detection process. So arms dropped by our side, and then we just lift our arm up completely straight to the front. If we're able to do so, we can reach it really high into the air. Now I want you to do that 3 or 4 times, see if you experience pain. If you don't, let's take it to the side. So we sweep up right the way to the side, and then the same again. Do we experience pain? If we don't, we're going to step it on for our final movement. What we're going to do is go into what we call a painful arc. So keeping our palms facing us, we're going to reach all the way up, all the way up, all the way up, and as it comes across to the top, we're going to hold it and then bring it down, slowly down, slowly down, slowly down, slowly down. Now, within those 3 movements, if you felt a kind of pinching or any sort of ache within it, then there's something that's either developing, or it could be the onset of some inflammation or some potential muscle tear. If you want to carry on doing weights and training at the intensity you are, or even getting into a higher intensity, then it's so important you look after this joint. So you're the ones who are now going to leave us, get onto that plan, work out what's wrong with it, and I'll take you through the stages of rehabilitation and strengthening for that joint. For those who haven't experienced anything, we're going to go through one more thing, and that's to actually rotate the joint. So we're going to bend the elbows up, and we're going to check our flexibility. So we're going to have the elbow at a right angle, and then just twist the arm out. Now what I want you to do is really twist out and look down, and what we should see is the shoulder run along the forearms, the same line, as you can see with me. If not, and it feels really cut in, then that's definite tightness there. If you're beginning to rotate out and there's hardly any movement, or it's feeling very restrictive, then you're at the point of very poor flexibility around that joint. So you haven't quite injured anything yet, you haven't quite inflamed anything yet, it's more than likely you're on the road to doing that. So you've already begun that journey. So it's important that you guys begin to work on your flexibility. Now, one of the best things for flexibility that I want you to go into are some of our other plans, our yoga plans, our holistic practices, some of our cool down and warm down routines, which are used for the shoulders and chest, and there's one specific to that. I want you to get over to those plans now. You've got to trust me with it, and you've got to start thinking of prevention of injuries and management of your own body and tissue. At the end of the day, we want you to feel strong, feel healthy, and always feel able to come in and exercise with us. We don't want you to be restricted, and what we definitely don't want is to give you a reason to stop exercising at any time. Because you know what? Exercise makes you feel better. It helps enhance happiness. It helps your body look better, and it helps all those hormones that I often talk about within lots of our programs elevate. It's so important that we get your body moving. It wants to move. That's how the human body was created. So the last thing we want is to have any form of injury that's going to reduce our chance of doing that, or as well, that's going to impact on our daily life. That's one thing we definitely don't want you to do. And unfortunately, it's something that's very common when people are new to exercise. So I hope that's helped. If you were the ones who have already left us, then thank you for joining me. For those of you who have now gone through some of them tests and think, you know what, I am a little bit restrictive there, I don't want to go into that point and I need to work on my flexibility, then get over to those flexibility plans. They only take 5 to 10 minutes, they're very short, it's something we can all work within our day, but they are definitely going to help you get onto those goals that you set with us at Switch. So get over to there, I'll be there waiting for you, and we'll start making a difference. Thanks very much.